Marcus is a lucky game show winner. He can choose one of 3 prizes: a brand new Mercedes, an expensive laptop, or a designer wallet. What do you think is the best choice? Comment below. Look at this Mercedes. The logo is crooked. The car must be fake. The same goes for the wallet. This logo is supposed to be written in a different way. That's what the real logo looks like. But the laptop seems to be okay. The logo is correct. So, Marcus should probably opt for this device. On a rainy evening, Megan came home and found that someone had eaten her chocolate bar. She asked her sisters whether one of them had done it. Maria said she'd been working out in her room and hadn't left it the whole day. Amelia said she would never eat someone else's chocolate. And Emma answered that she'd been outside, watering plants in the garden. She'd just come home herself. Help Megan find out the truth and share your ideas in the comments. It must be Emma. Why would she need to water plants outside if it's raining? Kayla was staying at a hotel in Paris. One day, someone broke into her room and took all her expensive stuff. The police had 3 suspects. Alan said that he had been trying to pour himself some coffee downstairs, but with his arm in a sling, it had been extremely tricky. Marie told the police that she had been at the reception trying to solve some issues with her shower. And Bruce said that he had been sleeping. Help the detectives figure out who's guilty and leave them a message in the comments. Alan broke into Kayla's room. Look at his cast. He's wearing it over his sweater. It must be fake. Detective Morton has received wedding pictures of 2 newlywed couples from a client. He knows that both couples got married on the same beach in the Maldives. It's famous for its beautiful sunsets. But one of these couples is indeed very rich, while the other is broke. For some unfathomable reason, the detective client wants to know which couple has money. If you figure it out faster than Morton and write your answer in the comments, the detective will probably have to give you his badge. The guys on the right are wearing very simple wedding suits, but they're indeed celebrating their wedding on the beach. But if you take a closer look at the couple on the left, you'll soon realize the lighting on their fancy clothes and faces doesn't match the background. Plus, you can spot a few green screen fragments at the edges of the picture. Their photo isn't real. They can't afford to go to the Maldives in real life. They're broke. Mark found himself in the middle of a forest with 3 paths in front of him. The first one was covered with burning hot coals. The second path was so cold that it felt like Antarctica under his feet. And the third path was covered with sharp nails that were able to pierce any footwear. Tell Mark in the comments which path he should choose. The guy should pick the third path. All that ice is bound to be gone soon since it's too close to hot coals. Adam was driving home late at night when he noticed he was about to run out of gas. He stopped at a gas station to fill his gas tank and buy some snacks. Inside, there was a cashier and another customer dressed in black. When Adam came up to the employee to pay, she told him $505. Adam paid, went outside, and called the police to report an emergency. If you have any idea why he did so, comment below. You probably noticed that the cash register actually showed $18.35, but the cashier said $505, which looks like SOS. Detective Brown rushed to an expensive restaurant. Someone had stolen a gold spoon there. If the detective didn't find the real culprit, the waiter would have big problems. Luckily, there were still a lot of people in the restaurant, and Detective Brown questioned the main suspects. A group of friends said they were celebrating a birthday. They wouldn't spoil their party this way. A cheerful man said he'd been walking in the area and had dropped by to check out this place. And a miserable-looking guy answered that his wife had left him and he had come to the restaurant to take his mind off his problems. You must help the detective to find the criminal. When you do, write your answer in the comments faster than the others. The second man lied. He'd said he'd been to the restaurant for the first time, but look, he's wearing a hat with the restaurant's logo. Gotcha! Adam's car broke down right in the middle of a deserted forest road. But the worst thing was that it was winter, snowdrifts were huge, and the wind was freezing cold. Adam had to get to the nearest town, and fast. But if he followed the first path, he'd have to deal with hungry wolves. The second road went through the area inhabited by bears, and if he took the third path, he'd have to cross a river covered with thin ice. You need to help the guy as fast as possible and tell him what road he should opt for in the comments. Adam should sneak through the bear's territory. These animals usually sleep in the winter. Liza was a millionaire's daughter. She was fed up with her father trying to control her life. After he told her one day he'd found a fiancé for her, she decided to run away from home. The girl knew her father would send his people to bring her back, so she never stayed in one hotel for more than one night. Once, she found herself in a small town. It was getting dark, and she had no choice but to stop at the first hotel she saw. The receptionist said that her room number was 910 and offered to show her where it was. Liza immediately grabbed her bag, ran out of the hotel, jumped in her car, and speeded away. If you can write in the comments the reason for such a weird reaction, you deserve the title of the true detective. The first digit of a hotel room number usually means the floor it's on. Room 910 is supposed to be on the 9th floor, but look at the hotel. It only has 3 floors. Young fashion designer Bruno was preparing for his first show. He was a bit anxious, so he took a break to steady his nerves. But when it was time for him to present his collection, no one could find him. In an hour, a security guard saw him in the bathroom, lying on the floor. Someone had hit him on the head. The police had 3 suspects. Maya, one of the models, said she'd had problems with her dress and hadn't even had time to leave the dressing room. Catherine, one of the guests, said that she was Bruno's biggest fan and had been wearing his clothes for years. Apparently, she had no reason to hit him. Sam, the designer's assistant, said he had rushed to the nearest coffee shop to get Bruno an Americano to calm him down. Who is the culprit? Share your ideas in the comments. It was Catherine. That day, it was Bruno's first show. Then how could she be wearing his clothes for years? Richard had a collection of beautiful paintings. One day, while he was away, his favorite one got stolen. The police suspected one of Richard's neighbors. Nicole said she'd been out of town. She returned home just an hour ago and was so tired after a long drive that she immediately went to bed. Dennis said he had been getting ready to paint his house, but since it didn't seem the rain would stop anytime soon, he went to the movies instead. Julie answered that her sister had been feeling unwell. That's why Julie was busy looking after her little nephew. Take that magnifying glass of yours and tell us the truth. Who's guilty? It was Nicole. It had been raining for the whole day. If the woman had returned home just an hour before, the road under her car would be wet.
One day, Marcus was going home from work. There was a blackout in the city and everything was shrouded in darkness. Suddenly, he heard footsteps. Someone was rushing behind him. He started to turn around to check, and that's when the world around him went totally black. Marcus came to his senses in a basement, dimly lit by several candles. There were 3 doors before him. Behind the first door, hungry zombies were waiting for their next meal. Behind the second door, a fire was raging. and the third door hid a mess of bare electric wires. Now, you're the only one who can save Marcus. Write in the comments which door he should choose right away. As you might remember, there's a blackout in the city, so electrical wires are totally harmless at the moment. Marcus should slip through the third door. Strangely enough, the guy found himself in a barber shop. After staring at the scene in front of his eyes for a moment, he realized that one of his clients was in grave danger. Write who it is in the comments below and prove yourself to be as smart as Marcus. Marcus spotted that the red-haired hairdresser had mistaken a bug spray for a hairspray. But once he opened his mouth to warn the client, the entire room vanished into thin air. It was just a hologram. Was someone playing with Marcus? The guy went further. At one point, he turned around the corner and a freezing gust of wind hit him in the face. Marcus was outside and it was winter all around. Behind his back, there was no building, just snowdrifts and dark trees. The man could only move straight ahead. There were 3 paths ahead of him, but the one on the left led through the den of hungry wolves. To follow the one in the middle, Marcus would have to pass by a family of bears. And the right path went over a frozen lake covered with thin ice. The guy is freezing. Help him in the comments as fast as you can. Marcus should choose the path in the middle. It's winter, and bears kind of hibernate during this season. The guy is quiet, he won't wake them up, and will get out of the forest safely. And indeed, Marcus managed to escape danger and soon spotted a house hidden among the trees. But only after he entered did he realize it was a very strange and creepy house. The main clue was 4 doors in front of the guy. Behind door number 1, there was a room filled with piranha-infested water. Door number 2 hit a mountain slope. When someone stepped on it, an avalanche came hurtling down. Behind door 3, there were electric wires hanging low above the floor and some wet stains on the floor. And behind door number 4, there was nothing but a small room with just one window on the 58th floor, nothing else. Write your pick in the comments below faster than the other Brightside detectives. Marcus should walk through door 3. Since the wires don't actually touch the floor, the guy will be able to bend and crawl to the other exit. Unfortunately, whoever was testing Marcus's survival skills didn't want to make life easy for the guy. The door leading out of the room was locked and had 4 keyholes. There were also 4 keys hanging on the wall next to it. If Marcus wanted to get out of the room, he had to match the keyholes and the keys. If you can help him crack this tough task, comment "I can" below the video. Look at the bows of these keys. They all have openings with different numbers of edges. And the trick here is that the number of edges should meet the code number under each keyhole. Marcus was finally out of that scary room, but his adventures were far from over. Of all places, he found himself in a jail canteen. To get past these inmates, he needed to figure out which of them was the wealthiest. Can you help Marcus? The man on the left is a chef. That's why he has a special meal. The guy in the middle has some gold jewelry, but it's unlikely it can help him a lot in jail. As for the man on the right, he has a smartphone hidden in his pocket. And in prison, such a gadget means the ability to communicate with the outside world. So he must be the most influential and richest among them. But if you disagree, write your opinion in the comments. Poor Marcus. To get out of the jail canteen, he needed to choose the safest exit. But all of them seemed equally terrifying. The first one led to the den of a horrible dragon. the second to a room filled with boiling lava. And to get to the third room, Marcus would have to sneak through flesh-cutting laser beams. Well, that's a tough choice. Tell Marcus in the comments which way he should pick. The safest way is probably to sneak through the third exit. It's not going to be a walk in the park, but at least those laser beams are not moving. The next place Marcus found himself was in a battle area. Apparently, that mysterious force that was playing with him had notched the game. 3 creatures were waiting for the guy, and he needed to fight one of them to survive. The first monster had the head of a rattlesnake and the body of a giant ferret. The second one had the body of a gorilla and the head of an alligator. And the third creature had the face and body of a great white shark and the tail and claws of a bear. Which monster should Marcus choose? Share your wisdom in the comments. The first 2 monsters are likely to be extremely dangerous opponents. Imagine how agile and venomous the snake ferret might be. And the gorilla gator is certainly too strong for Marcus to defeat. As for the shark bear, well, since sharks have gills and can't breathe on land, the guy will just need to wait a bit, and this opponent will get out of his way on his own. Once everything was over, Marcus was transported to a dimly lit room. A bizarre-looking family was in front of him. Marcus had to figure out which member of this family was possessed by a ghost. Being as observant as he was, he soon found the answer. And how observant are you? Write in the comments. Admittedly, this woman looks kind of scared, but she's not possessed. She's choked on some food and can't breathe. The man is wearing dark glasses, even though he's indoors. Suspicious. But he's blind. Do you see that white cane the blind use next to him? The granny is the one who is possessed. There's a trace of ectoplasm that goes through the whole room towards her. After successfully cracking the riddle, Marcus found himself in a jungle. After wandering for hours, he came to a place where the path split into 3 smaller trails. The first one led to an active volcano with red-hot lava bubbling in its crater. If Marcus chose the second path, he would get to a clearing swarming with venomous bats. And the third path ended in a swamp, swallowing everything and everybody that got there. If you know where the guy should go, tell him in the comments, please. Marcus chose the second path, since most bats are only active at night, plus they almost never attack humans, and found himself at home in his own bed. Was it just a creepy, very detailed dream? Write what you think about it. Here's Hudson. He's a college teacher. It's the last day of the semester, so he has a bunch of paperwork in his office. Suddenly, someone turns off the electricity in the entire building. Hudson goes to the basement with generators. There he sees a turned-off switch and 3 people standing next to it. They all say they didn't touch anything, but one of them is lying. The janitor says, "The lights went out when I came here to clean up." Rebecca says, "I'm a new student. I got lost in the corridors and accidentally got here." And Nick says, "I'm a last-year graduate. I came here to find a toy owl, a souvenir I had hidden here many years ago." Who's lying? The janitor has a bucket and a mop, so he's not lying. There's a toy owl in the corner of the room, so Nick is telling the truth. Rebecca is lying. It's the end of the semester, so she can't be new at this time. One of Hudson's students, Paul, has a crush on another student named Liza. Once he got a note from her saying she liked him. So Paul decides to write her back and ask her out. Unfortunately, he doesn't remember which desk is Liza's. There are 2 possibilities. Can you guess which desk is the one he needs? If you remember, the note was written in green ink. There's a similar green pen lying on the desk on the right. So this is most likely Liza's desk. After classes, Hudson is leaving the building and faces a group of his students. They ask him to take their picture. Can you spot an odd detail in the resulting shot? This guy here has 3 hands. Liza and Paul are having fun outside during their winter break. Liza is learning how to skate on the lake, and Paul is skiing in the forest. Who's not smart? Liza. The ice on the lake is cracking, and there's no one around to help her. Unlucky Liza. Paul, meanwhile, returns to the dorm. He's starving, so he opens the fridge that he shares with his roommate Nick. Right away, Paul begins to yell at his roommate. "Nick, you stole my food again!" Nick replies, "You're a liar. I didn't." Paul says, "Well, I have proof. I took a picture of our fridge before leaving." Can you tell who's lying by just looking at these 2 images? Take a closer look. The shelves are signed. These 2 shelves are Nick's, and the other 2 Paul's. These 3 items disappeared from Paul's shelves. This means that the liar is Nick, and it's time for a new roommate. Meanwhile, Liza and Paul are having a date tonight. Apparently, the lady on the lake survived the cracking ice. But Liza's dorm is situated on the opposite side of this maze. Can you help Paul pass through this labyrinth to meet his date? Here is the only way out. The college dean, Nina, hires a handyman to transform the area around the campus. That's what she says. Your task is to put 7 benches. I will triple your paycheck if you find a way to put exactly 6 rows of benches in a straight line. Also, each row should have 3 benches in particular. Can you help the handyman accomplish this task? He should put 3 benches as the vertices of an equal triangle. 3 more benches should be put at the center of each side of triangle. And the last bench should be at the center. The handyman gets to work and goes to the storage room to grab some tools. Can you find 2 identical items? Hey, here they are. The handyman is bored, so he starts a quiz game. He keeps asking the same question to every student he meets, but each time the answer is different. Can you guess the question? The handyman's question is, "How are you doing?" Hudson's teenage daughter, Jill, failed a test. So he makes her stay at home and study instead of going to a friend's birthday party. Meanwhile, Nina's teenage daughter, Jules, got sick. So she spends the entire day in her bedroom instead of going to the movies. Both daughters come down to dinner at 7 o'clock. Which parent was deceived? Nina. Take a look at the window. It's raining heavily. Jules has wet hair and dirty water on the edges of her jeans. It means she was outside. Uh-oh, liar. The next morning, Hudson and Nina both wake up earlier to prepare breakfast for their families. Nina is making sandwiches. Meanwhile, Hudson is making eggs with bacon. Who's wrong? Hudson, Oops, he forgot to turn on the stove. Hudson is walking to work through his favorite park and sees this scene. Can you spot what's wrong in this picture? There are two suns in the sky. Uh-oh, Tatooine. Hudson arrives at his class and starts with a witty riddle. Can you tell me which part of London exists in France as well? The correct answer is the letter N. A huge drama is taking place in a diner next to the college campus. The owner of this place screams, "Where's my money? It's 30 minutes till the end of the working day." But there's no money in the cash register. 3 employees have been working today, but they swear that they haven't touched the money. They say there have been no customers today. The boss doesn't believe them. He studies the employees, trying to spot the thief. Liza is wearing a pair of stylish sunglasses and brandy clothes. Mike is also wearing some costly designer clothes and an expensive phone. Robin is wearing a regular dress and fake jewelry. Who took the money? Nobody. Take a look at the sign on the door. It says "Open." That means that people on the street saw the closed sign on the other side. That's why nobody entered, and the cash register remained empty. Hudson finds a secret hallway in the basement of the college building. He decides to explore it and finds an old treasure chest. But as soon as he touches it, 3 zombie pirates come out and grab him. One of them says, "Hey, we've been protecting this gold for 500 years. You can't take it." Hudson notices that something's wrong with these guys. Can you figure out what exactly? Well, they seem fake. This zombie is wearing sneakers. The second one has a phone in his pocket. And the third zombie has a price tag attached to his saber. Ah, busted! Molly is very nervous. She met a great guy online, and today they're having their first offline date. They have never seen the pictures of each other. Their date will take place in an old part of the campus at night. Molly arrives at the meeting point and sees 2 guys. The first one says, "It's a weird place for a date, but I'm glad to see you." And the second guy says, "It's me. I couldn't wait to see you. You're even more pretty than your photos." One of them is Molly's date, while the other one, a dangerous criminal. Can you guess who is who? It's the second guy who is dangerous. He mentioned photos, but Molly didn't send her online crush any pictures of herself. Therefore, the first guy is her date. Molly and her date want to go to a local nightclub, but the guard can't let them in without a password. He gives the guys a hint. "The more places I go, the less you can see. Who am I?" Darkness is the password. It's a beautiful weekend day. Nina is working in her garden. Suddenly, someone attacks her from behind and she faints. Later that day, she gets better and talks to the police. Nina suspects one of her neighbors. Some of them don't really like her. Officers question 3 suspects. Bill says, "I've been planting trees with my daughter all day long." Sabrina says, "I was just peacefully watering my gorgeous flowers and continue to do so." Luke says, "I rarely leave my house, so I don't even know this woman." Who's suspicious? Sabrina's garden hose isn't even connected to the water source. It's just lying on the ground. Therefore, her story is fake. Hey, look at these couples. Can you spot anything weird here? Seems like the only real wife is the one on the right. She looks grumpy, but she is authentically human. Meanwhile, the lady on the left must be a robot. Just look at her legs. A local bank's money was stolen right in the middle of the day. But no one noticed that. Several days later, the room where the money used to be stored was found completely empty. There was just one note saying 7718. The police arrested 3 suspects, Bill, Jeff, and Cody, but the officers didn't know which of them was guilty. They invited a famous detective to crack the mysterious case, and the detective managed to decipher the note immediately. Can you do it too? So, turn the paper upside down. This way, the numbers turn into a name, Bill. The man wants to enter an exclusive club, but he doesn't know the password. Another man walks up to the entrance. The doorman says 12, and the man says 6, and is allowed to enter. Another man approaches. The doorman says 6, the man says 3, and the doorman lets him in. Thinking he's heard enough, our guy walks to the door. When the doorman says 10, he says 5, but he isn't allowed to enter. What should he have said? Three. The correct answer is the number of letters in the word the doorman says. Martin was a robber. One day he was trying to escape from the police after robbing a bank. He had 3 gold bars in his arms, each weighing 20 pounds. Ooh. The only way to get away was to cross a bridge, which could only support 220 pounds. The 3 bars of gold weigh 60 pounds, and Martin weighed 180 pounds. Could he cross the bridge without getting rid of any of the bars? Now, Martin can't leave a bar of gold and come pick it up later, so the only solution is to make those bars fly. To make it happen, Martin must juggle them. This way, only 2 bars will add extra weight to the bridge, while the third one will always remain airborne. Voila! 180 plus 20 plus 20 equals 220, so the bridge can totally handle it. However, Martin couldn't handle it because he couldn't juggle, and the police got their man. A thief entered a high-end boutique and forced the shop assistant to open the safe. The shop assistant said, "The code for the safe is different every day, and if you harm me, you'll never get the code." But the thief managed to guess the code on his own. How did he do it? The thief was smart. The code to the safe was the word different, just as the shop assistant said. A wealthy businessman, Mr. Ben Swift, was taken away and locked up in a dark room. His phone had almost no charge. He could only send one message. He knew that someone could be spying on his phone, so he decided to send a message with a code to a high school friend, John Smith, who had a detective agency. He remembered that in high school, they would cipher messages to each other, replacing each letter with the one to the left. So he sent this. Can you guess what it means? It's not gibberish. Once you decipher it, the message reads accountant, so it seems his accountant is to blame. You're wandering through the jungle when, all of a sudden, you see a magnificent ancient castle. You enter it and see its inhabitants. It's kind of hard to say if they're friendly or not, but hey, look, they've just fetched you some snacks. Still, you can tell from their grins that these snacks might be a trap for you. You can't say no to them and need to choose something to eat. There are 4 muffins in front of you. They all look yummy and your mouth is watering. One of the inhabitants, who seems to be the leader, tells you that the first muffin has some fermented cabbage inside. The second is swarming with live ants. The third has mud instead of chocolate cream. And the fourth one has ackee fruit inside. So, which dessert should you opt for? A muffin with fermented cabbage may sound weird, but it's safe to eat. You've tried fermented cabbage, aka kimchi, before and you loved it. For those who love unusual stuff, the fourth muffin is okay too. Ackee fruit is delicious when cooked properly. As for the ants and mud muffins, I'd pass. Lucy is a nail technician. Her services are free to anyone who wants to set up an appointment. However, most people still end up paying her. How so? Lucy only does one hand for free, so most people who come end up paying the full price. They don't want to look weird with their nails done only on one hand. Poor Kathy lived with a stepmother and 3 wicked stepsisters. Her dream was to go to a lit party, which she had been waiting for a year. Her stepmother, Evelyn, never let Kathy go anywhere. But this time, Evelyn decided to let Kathy go as soon as she had finished with all her tasks. The stepmother asked Kathy to bring her some water, but she gave her a colander to carry the water. How can Kathy bring the water if she has nothing but a colander? Kathy needs to freeze some water and put it in the colander. It'll take some time to melt. When Evelyn gets that colander full of ice, technically, it'll be full of water. Jeremy got lost while driving, so he found the nearest town and decided to spend the night in a hotel. After checking in, he went to the restaurant. Suddenly, the lights went off and everyone fell asleep. The next morning, Jeremy had a terrible headache and he couldn't remember anything. Look at these 2 photos. They were taken before and after the lights went out. Can you guess what happened? Look, there are some balloons in the first photo, but none in the second one. They must have been filled with sleeping gas. Someone wanted everyone to sleep. Jenny went grocery shopping and bought a lot of milk, yogurt, meat, and cheese. When she came back home, she realized that she had nowhere to store all these products as her fridge was already full. How can she save all the food she bought? Jenny needs to revise the stuff in her fridge. Look, there's a pack of rice, some chips, and even cookies. These products don't need to be stored in the fridge. Once she takes them out of the fridge, she'll have enough space to store the dairy products and meat she bought. Twiggy's got her 2 piggies. Alex grooves with his 2 wolves. And Tony has a pony. They're all on the shore of a vast and dangerous river. They need to get across, and there's only one small raft nearby. But it's not as simple as it might seem. There are 5 rules the guys need to follow. Rule number 1, the raft can only carry 2 of them. Number 2, only humans can row. Number 3, the piggies can't ride with Alex unless Twiggy is around. Number 4, the wolves can't ride with Twiggy without Alex. And finally, number 5, the pony can only ride with Tony. How can they all get across? First, they need Tony on board. He needs to take one of the wolves across the river. The rules don't prohibit it. When he comes back, Alex takes the second wolf across the river. Then Alex goes back alone. Twiggy joins him and they go to the other bank, where Twiggy leaves Alex and goes back alone. She gives the raft to Tony and his pony, and they go to the other bank. When they reach it, Alex takes the raft and goes back to pick up Twiggy. He picks her up, they go back, and Twiggy leaves Alex there. After that, she goes back to pick up her pigs one by one. Finally, I thought this was never going to end. Hey!
Monica decided to go on a solo vacation to Brazil. She was strolling along a deserted beach when some magical sea creature caught her by surprise. It took her to a cave at the bottom of the ocean, took all her stuff, and left her there. To escape, she had to go through one of 3 tunnels. The first tunnel had sharks swimming all over it. The second tunnel had poisonous underwater snakes. And the third tunnel had a pirate shipwreck. Which tunnel should she choose to go through? She should pick the third tunnel. Sure, it's a pirate ship, but it's already sunk and it won't pose any real threats. Anna decided to throw a costume party and invited all her friends. 2 couples decided to dress up as vampires, but one of these couples is made of real vampires. Take a look at the image. Can you tell me which one? It's the second couple. They are vampires. They don't have any reflection in the mirror, do they? On a murky water day, Jason woke up confused. He had bumped his head into a coral reef and woke up in another underwater kingdom. 3 mermaids took him in and helped him get better. When he finally opened his eyes and asked who they were, they all said they were his wife. Take a look at the image. Can you tell which mermaid is telling the truth? If you look closely, the third mermaid to the right is wearing a shellfish ring similar to the one that Jason is wearing. This must mean she's his real wife, and the other 2 mermaids were lying. In the Wizardry School of Ninth, students are getting ready for a philosophy test. They're pretty good at doing magic, but they haven't developed their theoretical skills too much. The teacher, Mrs. Woodland, prepared a relatively easy first question for them. It asked, what is the phrase that makes you happy when you're sad and sad when you're happy? The correct answer is, it will be over soon. Yikes! On the same day of that test, Mandeline had a potion test. She was extremely nervous since she could never get the very difficult spells correctly. She got to the classroom and the teacher had left a few potion bottles for her to label. Take a look at the bottles and the tags. Can you tell which bottle is which? Our first clue lies in the bottles themselves. The first bottle is for the freezing potion. It freezes anything it gets into contact with. The second bottle carries a potion for making people stronger. The third bottle makes people feel sick. Ew! The fourth bottle is the one for finding eternal love. And the last bottle with the frog is for turning frogs into princes. I quite like these potions. On Amy's graduation day, her mother introduced her to a few eligible bachelors. She really wanted her daughter to find a new love, since she had recently broken up with her college sweetheart. She talked with the guys who all said they were training to be airplane pilots, but she figured out one of them was lying. How could she tell? Take a look at the first guy. He's wearing glasses, which means he can't be a pilot. Pilots need to have perfect eyesight. James, a father of 4, went to work, leaving a $50 bill on the kitchen table for his oldest daughter, Quinn, to go shopping. When he got home, there was no food. Quinn said she hadn't been able to go shopping because he hadn't left any money. James asked his other 3 kids to come down and question them. Beverly said she saw the money on the table but didn't touch it. Kenneth said she opened the window and put the money under the book so it wouldn't fly away. Owen said he'd put the bill inside the book between pages 57 and 58. Can you tell who's lying? Owen is lying. He couldn't put the money between pages 57 and 58 because they're the two sides of the same page. Cindy was playing with her time machine when she opened a portal to another dimension. The portal took her to a sorcerer's house in the middle of nowhere. The sorcerer was so powerful that she closed Cindy's portal and Cindy was stuck there. The sorcerer proposed that they play a game. She said she had two cards in her hand, one that said free and another that said stay. Cindy could pick only one card. If she got the one with free written on it, she'd go back home. But if she picked the one with the word stay, she'd stay forever. But the sorcerer was such a trickster that she changed both cards to stay. Even so, Cindy managed to be freed by the sorcerer, beating her at her own game. How did she do it? Cindy anticipated what the sorcerer would do, so as soon as she picked the first card, she threw it in the fire, saying it was by mistake. That way, the sorcerer would have to show her the remaining card was stay, which meant that the one she had burnt had to be the card with free written on it. Way to go, Cindy! After Colton was shipwrecked, he found himself on a deserted island. Luckily, he still had his pills with him. There are 2 blue pills and 2 red ones. He needs to take 1 red pill and 1 blue pill, but his eyesight was severely compromised after the wreck, so he can't tell them both apart. There's nobody around to help him. How can he manage it? Colton should break each of the 4 pills into half and eat 4 halves of each. This way, he'll take exactly 1 red and 1 blue. Last week, Sophia attended the town's much-anticipated masquerade ball. She chose to show off her mother's vintage diamond necklace. But during the event, she noticed her necklace was gone. She called a private investigator immediately and asked him to bring her diamond necklace back, whatever it cost her. Very quickly, the investigator gathered 3 suspects. Kate, the one with the blue mask, says she spent most of the evening in the garden. Bianca, wearing the green mask, insists she was in the bathroom when the theft occurred. Jake, with the silver mask, says that he only noticed Sophia's necklace was missing after he came back from the bar. The investigator immediately knew who was lying and recovered the diamond necklace. Can you figure it out too? How did Jake know the exact moment the necklace went missing? It must have been him. Plus, take a look at his pocket. It looks like there's some triangular-shaped object in there, doesn't it? Luke was an adventurer, and on his latest trip, he went to Vietnam. There, he came across an ancient treasure map. The map led him to a remote island where a legendary treasure was said to be hidden. But the treasure's location was protected by a series of cryptic symbols. He needed to find it to unlock the treasure. Take a look at the encoded message that appeared and help Luke figure out a pattern that will take him to the treasure. The message said, "Carrot, sun, astronaut, filled, you, room." This wasn't so tricky, huh? The key to answering this one is noticing the pattern. The letters in capitals are the ones that make up the password. So, the correct password is Ray. The other words are just there to confuse you. Way to go, Luke! One of these girls has a pet at home. Can you tell me which one? It's the one in the middle. She's got scratches all over her arm. One day, Emma went to her best friend Taylor's house crying. When Taylor asked what was wrong, Emma showed her the photo her boyfriend Andrew sent her from his solo hiking trip and yelled, "He's cheating on me!" Take a look at the image and tell me, how did she know? In the first photo from the kitchen of his Airbnb, there's a glass on the table with a lipstick mark. And in the second photo from the bathroom, see these slippers in front of the bathtub? These are slippers only a woman can wear. The local movie theater was doing a special Valentine's Day rom-com movie marathon, and they were doing a discount on the tickets for couples. However, the theater owner realized people were taking advantage of the offer by pretending to be couples. Take a look at these three couples standing in front of the ticket line. Can you help the owner figure out which two people are indeed partners? The second couple might not be holding hands and looking couple-like the others. But take a look at their ankles. They have tiny matching tattoos. They must indeed be committed partners. Now, take a look at these people watching a movie in another movie theater. There is only one real couple here. Can you tell who? Everyone's hands are everywhere, right? But if you look carefully, you'll see that this guy is not holding hands with anyone. He's just stealing popcorn from the lady sitting next to him. And this lady is trying to grab this guy's drink. See these people sitting on the right end of the front row? They might be sitting close to each other, but the guy is holding hands with this other lady. So they must be the real couple. Sarah has a crush on several guys at her college. One of them might be her soulmate. But first, she has to find out if they're single. There are some photos of them with their partners or siblings, and she needs to guess who is who. Can you help her figure out the single guys? Look at the first photo. Crush number 1, James, is hugging two girls tightly. The first girl has the same birthmark on her cheek as he does, so they might be siblings. The second girl is wearing a matching outfit, and she's holding his hand, so she is his girlfriend. Now, let's investigate the second photo. Crush number 2, Reggie, might look like he's hugging this girl, but he's holding his hands in the air, not touching her body. This indicates they're not in a romantic relationship. The second girl is hugging him, but she's holding another guy's hand who is not in the photo. That means she has a boyfriend and Reggie is single. And lastly, Daniel, crush number 3 in the last image, is hugging a girl, but they both have friendship bracelets, so they're best friends. The second girl in the image looks grumpy. Daniel is pinching her cheek, which can only mean they must be siblings. It seems that Daniel is single as well. Ken is going on a blind date, but the only thing he knows about the girl whom she will meet is that she will be wearing a scarf with stripes. When he arrives at the restaurant they agreed to meet at, he sees 3 different ladies, all wearing scarves with stripes. Can you help him find out who his blind date is? The lady in the yellow dress already ordered her food and started eating. That means she wasn't going to meet anyone. The same goes for the lady in the red dress as well. It would be rude of her to enjoy tea if she was expecting anyone to join her. So, Ken's date must be the lady in the blue dress, waiting with 2 empty cups in front of her. Ella is waiting for her date. Take a look at these 3 guys across the street. Can you tell who her date is? Ella is holding a bucket of popcorn, so she must have a movie date. Now, take a look at the shirt pocket of the first guy. He has 2 movie tickets in there, so he must be the one going on a date with Ella.
Gotcha!
You were chosen as a contestant for the local channel's Valentine's Day themed quiz show. On the day of the show, you successfully made it to the final question. If you answer it correctly, you're going to win the $50,000 prize. The host invites 3 men, Jack, Robert, and Michael, and 3 women, Jane, Carol, and Lily, to the stage. Then he says, "I'm going to give you 3 facts about these people here, and I want you to tell me who the couples are. The first fact is, Jane's sister is married to Michael. The second fact is, Jack has never met Lily. And the third fact is, Lily is an only child." Can you win the grand prize? Jack is married to Jane, Robert to Lily, and Michael to Carol. Sophie received an anonymous letter in her locker that said, "Roses are red, violets are blue. Meet me here tonight if you love me too." The only thing is, she didn't know who it was from because they forgot to sign it. 3 classmates had been near her locker during the lunch break. Can you help her figure out who wrote the note? Take a look at Ethan's hands. They're covered with glitter, which matches the glitter hearts on the letter. So he must be the one who wrote it. Richard wanted to get a special anniversary gift for his wife, Rachel. He decided to check her wish list to pick something from there. The list included the first edition of Jane Austen's Pride and Prejudice, a pearl necklace, and a luxury handbag. Which one should he pick as his gift? Take a look around the room. The first edition of Pride and Prejudice is already among the other books in Rachel's bookcase. The same goes for the pearl necklace. It's right here around the neck of the statue. So, since she already bought the first 2 items, Richard should get the luxury handbag. During her honeymoon, Jenny lost her matching gold wedding ring by the poolside.
Oh, no.
Her husband, Tristan, thought it was actually stolen and he was suspicious of these 3 people. Can you tell which one stole the ring? The first lady is wearing a wedding ring on a chain around their neck, but it has a diamond on it. And since Jenny's ring needs to match Tristan's ring, which has no diamonds, that's not hers. The second man has several gold rings on his fingers, but none of them can belong to Jenny since they're all too large for her fingers. So, it's the third lady who stole the ring. See the silver-colored spray paint cans on her dress? She tried to disguise Jenny's golden ring by painting it silver, and she didn't even do a good job on that. Keith was working at the Cupid's Arrow booth at the carnival. There were 3 guys who all wanted to try their chances at winning the giant teddy bear prize. Unfortunately, they all took a shot with their arrows once Keith's attention was elsewhere. One arrow did hit the bullseye, but all 3 contestants were claiming it was theirs. Can you help Keith determine the true winner? Take a look at the second guy's backpack on the ground. It says National Archery Team on it. That means he must be the actual archer. So it's likely that he's the real winner. Tom planned a surprise for his girlfriend, Kelly. When she arrived at the address where they were supposed to meet, she saw 3 different stores side by side. A jewelry store, a chocolate shop, and a florist. Where do you think Tom is waiting for her? Take a look at the display window of the chocolate shop. Among the chocolate letters, you can find the word surprise. So that's where Tom is.